Police expelled blockades and started disassembling a pro-Palestinian demonstrators' invigorated place to stay early Thursday at the UCLA campus, after hundreds of protesters defied police orders to take off, almost 24 hours after counter-protesters assaulted a tent place to stay on the campus. Police confined a modest bunch of individuals on campus, tying their wrists with zip ties. The law authorization activity came after officers went through hours undermining captures over uproarious speakers on the off chance that individuals did not scatter. Hundreds of individuals had assembled on campus, both interior a blockaded tent place to stay and exterior of it in back. As police helicopters drifted overhead, the sound of flashbangs, which deliver a shinning light and a boisterous commotion to confuse and daze individuals, may well be listened as police moved in. Chants of "Where were you final night?" may be listened. California Interstate Watch officers wearing confront shields and defensive vests stood with their mallet projecting out to partition them from demonstrators, who wore head protectors and gas covers and chanted, "You need peace. We need justice." Police systematically separated the encampment's blockade of plywood, beds, metal wall, and junk dumpsters, and made an opening toward handfuls of tents of demonstrators. Police, moreover, started to drag down canopies and tents. Demonstrators held umbrellas like shields as they confronted off with handfuls of officers. The police activity happened a night after the UCLA organization and campus police held up hours to halt the counter-protesters' assault. The delay drew condemnation from Muslim understudies and California Gov. Gavin Newsom. Demonstrators revamped the improvised obstructions around their tents on Wednesday, whereas state and campus police observed. Tent encampments of dissidents calling on colleges to stop doing commerce with Israel or companies they say bolster the war in Gaza have spread over campuses across the nation in an understudy development not at all like any other this century. The following police crackdowns echoed activities decades ago against a much bigger protest movement protesting the Vietnam War. Within the Mideast, Iranian State TV carried live pictures of the police activity, as did Qatar's Pan-Arab Al Jazeera Disciple arrange. Live pictures of Los Angeles too played over Israeli TV systems as well. The tense standoff at UCLA came one night after savagery, instigated by counter-protesters, emitted within the same put. The law authorization nearness and preceded notices stood in differentiate to the scene that unfurled the night sometime recently, when counter-demonstrators assaulted the pro-Palestinian place to stay, tossing activity cones, discharging pepper shower, and tearing down obstructions. Battling proceeded for a few hours. Sometime recently police ventured in spite of the fact that no captures were made. At slightest 15 nonconformists endured wounds, and the lukewarm reaction by specialists drew feedback from political pioneers, as well as Muslim understudies and backing bunches. By Wednesday evening, a little city sprang up interior, the reinforced place to stay, full of hundreds of individuals and tents on the campus quad. A few nonconformists said Muslim supplications as the sun set over the campus, whereas others chanted, "We're not leaving," or passed out goggles and surgical covers. They wore head protectors and headscarves, and talked about the best ways to handle pepper splash or tear gas as somebody sang over a megaphone. Some developed custom-made shields out of plywood in case they clashed with police-shaping engagement lines somewhere else on the campus. For elastic bullets, who needs a shield? A nonconformist called out. Outside the place to stay, a swarm of understudies, graduated class, and neighbors accumulated on campus steps, joining in pro-Palestinian chants. A gather of understudies holding signs and wearing T-shirts in bolster of Israel and Jewish individuals illustrated adjacent. The swarm proceeded to develop as the night wore on, as increasingly officers poured onto campus. Beam Williani, who lives adjacent, said he came to UCLA on Wednesday evening to back the pro-Palestinian demonstrators. "We got to take a stand for it," he said. "Enough is enough. Somewhere else, police in Modern Hampshire said they made 90 captures and took down tents at Dartmouth College, and officers in Oregon came onto the campus at Portland State College as school authorities looked forward to conclusion the occupation of the library that begun Monday. The chaotic scenes at UCLA came after New York police burst into a building occupied by anti-war dissidents at Columbia College on Tuesday night, breaking up a show that had paralyzed the school. And related press count tallied at slightest 38 times since April 18, where captures were made at campus dissents over the U.S. More than 1,600 individuals have been captured at 30 schools. UCLA Chancellor Quality Peace said in an explanation that a gather of instigators executed the past night's assault, but he did not give subtle elements around the swarm or why the administration and school police did not act sooner. However one feels around the place to stay, this assault on our understudies, staff, and community individuals was totally unacceptable, he said. It has shaken our campus to its core. Square promised an audit of the night's occasions after California Gov. Gavin Newsom censured the delays. The head of the College of California Framework, Michael Drake, requested an independent audit of the university's arranging, its activities, and the reaction by law enforcement. The community should feel the police are securing them, not empowering others to harm them, Rebecca Husseini, chief of staff for the Muslim Open Issues Board, said in a news conference on the Los Angeles campus Wednesday. Speakers debated the university's account that 15 individuals were harmed and one hospitalized, saying the number of individuals taken to the healing center was higher. One understudy portrayed requiring to go to the hospital after being hit in the head by a protest used by counter-protesters. A few understudies who talked amid the news conference said they had to depend on each other, not the police, for support as they were assaulted, which many in the pro-Palestinian place to stay remained quiet and did not lock in with counter-protesters. UCLA canceled classes Wednesday. At the College of Wisconsin in Madison, a scrum broke out early Wednesday after police with shields expelled all but one tent and pushed dissidents. 4 officers were harmed, counting a state trooper who was hit within the head with a skateboard, specialists said. 4 were charged with battering law requirement. This is often all playing out in a decision year in the U.S., raising questions about whether youthful voters, who are critical for Democrats, will back President Joe Biden's re-election effort, given his staunch bolster of Israel. In uncommon occasions, college authorities and dissent leaders struck agreements to limit the disturbance to campus life and upcoming commencement ceremonies. At Brown College in Rhode Island, administrators agreed to consider a vote to strip from Israel in October, clearly the primary U.S. college to concur to such a request. The across-the-nation campus showings started at Columbia on April 17 to dissent Israel's hostile in Gaza, which taken after Hamas propelling a dangerous assault on southern Israel on October 7. Militants killed approximately 1,200 people, most of them civilians, and took generally 250 prisoners. Vowing to stamp out Hamas, Israel has murdered more than 34,000 Palestinians within the Gaza Strip, concurring to the health ministry there. Israel and its supporters have branded the college protests anti-Semitic, whereas Israel's pundits say it employs those allegations to hush resistance. In spite of the fact that a few dissidents have been caught on camera making anti-Semitic comments or violent threats, organizers of the challenges, a few of whom are Jewish, say it is a quiet development pointed at guarding Palestinian rights and dissenting the war.